Hey guys, insight number 3 here. So let's talk history, context, and revelation, because official declarations 1 and 2 deal with two particularly very controversial issues, and I'm not going to get into those issues in a great detail, probably not at all. And if you want to know more about those, the Come Follow Me manual has some really great words around that, some links and resources, especially around personal journal entries and stories of church members from that time that really, illustrate their faith and talk about what was happening then. And there's also like the gospel topic essays is where I will direct you, because they really do cover it and tell you the absolute truth of what happened. They're not hiding anything. They're not trying to blow anything off or cover anything up. In fact, they're trying to really make it clear what happened. So I'm going to direct you to that, because neither of those things, I wasn't there for the time, and neither of those things have affected me. So I only know from church history. So I'm going to talk about what we can learn from this history. All right? Cool. All right. So let's talk history, context, and revelation. So the official declaration 1 was the end to plural marriage. Now, brief history on that. It gone on for about 20 years, where Utah wanted to be part of the United States at that time, and they were not. The law was currently being passed for the entire states that you couldn't have plural marriage. Now, because it had been a revelation from Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, Wilford Woodruff, who was the prophet at the time, was trying to fight this and say, but this is, and fight it in a legal way in the courts, of course, again, and this is how it ties into the Articles of Faith, following the law of the land and being subject to presidents and rulers and kings, because that is what we believe as members, that, if we have to obey the law. If we don't like the law, then we work to change it, but we still need to obey the law. So he was working church. So it went on for about 20 years, and they basically said, look, no, and if it continues, we're going to come and take your assets, we're going to arrest these people and arrest you, and you're going to go to prison. Now, what you really want to look at for this is the official declaration's fairly short, just giving you the synopsis of, okay, so from this time forward, much like, we get letters read from the pulpit or announced to our wards and stakes that come from leaders that basically just say, under the direction of this, A, B, C, D, and, we love you guys, whatever, signed the first presidency, and, that kind of thing. So it was very much that. And so what you really want to know, President Lorenzo Snow offered the following about Wilford Woodruff just trying to get through this. And then you've got excerpts from 3 addresses from President Wilford Woodruff regarding the manifesto. So you see that there, and it goes over here. Now, it's little writing, but that's where you find the good stuff. So the Lord, he really worked over this and really tried to, make it right. And you also got to keep in context, this is where we keep in context, it was probably only 5, maybe a little more % than that were actually practicing polygamy, plural marriage. And to be able to practice it, it had to be cleared by the prophet. You couldn't just go, oh, I like that wife, I'm going to have her as well. It didn't work like that. Now, people left the church, broke away in a faction from this because they wanted to continue plural marriage. And the prophet Wilford Woodruff at this time has said, absolutely not. We're obeying the law of the land. We're joining in with the United States. We will be part of the United States. And as that, there will be no more plural marriage. If you are already in one, you may continue, but there will be no more. In fact, he went to investigate some that apparently had happened. It was being rumoured, and, the rumour mill going on. And said that, no, that actually didn't happen. It was just a rumour. And had stopped some that people still wanted to continue. Now, people did leave, as I said, and people left again for official declaration number 2. What we can talk about in here, though, is that Wilford Woodruff said he saw exactly what would come to pass if there was not something done. So, he saw it. He said he'd had that spirit with him for a long time, and he would have let the temple go. He would have gone to prison, and he would have let every man go there if that's what Heavenly Father had wanted. But that's not what Heavenly Father wanted. It's not what Jesus Christ wanted. Jesus wanted temples. He wanted people in the temples. So he said, end it. Done. Now, for whatever reason they needed plural marriage, for whatever reasons you believe in, that was a revelation for a time, and it no longer stands. And yes, some people get married twice and sealed twice. I know a few men who have got, their wife has passed away and they can get sealed to another one. I don't know why they can do that, and I don't know how that's going to work, and I don't stress myself with it because it's a bigger plan and we can't figure it out in this life. We can dive into it all we want. There's not going to be the answers until the next life. So, fine, do what you will with that. But anyway, that was the end of polygamy. And then official declaration number 2 was the end of something. I'm going to talk about that in the next one because it's a good topic. And I remember that one coming up because I was 3 years old. Anyway, so just remember, history, context, and revelation is what we're talking about here. These are big topics then and remain controversial now. The saints then were caught between living in the biblical cultural way because they believed that's what they needed to do, was to live like Old Testament gospel times. They weren't quite up with the continued revelation thing. So this was a hard adjustment for them. So yeah, they were caught in culture versus continued revelation. And they were sort of finding their way in that. So did leaders and do leaders make mistakes? Yes, they do. And they don't deny that they make mistakes, whether they should have pushed it this long, whether, why couldn't, Black Americans or Black people hold the priesthood or go to the temple? Like, why? There's no record why. There's no reasoning given why. I think it was cultural, but nonetheless, leaders do make mistakes. Yes, they do. And none of them, including the prophets from our scriptures like Nephi and Lehi, they made mistakes too. And because we're human, right? So it's okay. Leaders will make mistakes. It doesn't mean that they're bad, okay? Leaders make mistakes. They apologize for them. They move on. But we will make mistakes too. And I think it's really good to look at that and go, okay, that was a pretty big thing that probably shouldn't have happened, especially official declaration 2. That should have never been an issue, really. Personally, this is me personally talking, that should have never been an issue, ever. And I'm sad that it was. However, we can see that with continued revelation and listening to the Lord, changes are made and things get better and we move forward. And yes, we can learn from history, and what we can learn from history is that that was not correct, and moving forward. And I'm going to talk about the next one about all men being equal because it's pretty cool. All right. We're not sure why this part of history existed in the restored church. We can speculate all you want, but let's focus on what we do know and live the gospel and continue revelation. So again, as I said in insight number 2, focus on what you do know. Yes, go into these topics. Read the gospel topic essays. Go have a discussion with your family. It is important to talk about it. But we do not know exactly why these issues existed. There were many other issues that have existed over the years and continue to exist to this day. I don't know why some of them come up, but they do. These ones were there. They still get brought up as problematic. And yet, focus on what we do know and the continued revelation that actually this is no longer a thing. All right. Elder Uchtdorf, he said, we would do well to slow down a little, focus on the significant, and truly see the things that matter most. So if you're getting caught up in this or someone's coming at you like this, slow down a little, focus on the things that matter most. And that is that Christ is good and Christ sees all men equal. And for whatever reason, and we'll figure that out later, not worried about it now, just do today. All right? Okay. Hang around because insight number 3 is good. And I'm sorry they're going to be a bit longer, but these are big topics to talk about and I'm trying to do my best to condense it. All right. I'll see you there.